hope everybody is having a good one. And I hope you guys had a good week and Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde and Uranus retrograde and all the other retrogrades that we're in or about to go in, plus the full moon didn't cause too much chaos for you guys. So, hey Lindsay, can everybody hear me okay? You guys know I'm always worried about the sounds. I hope everybody had a good week. Hey Riss, how are you? Okay, good. Hey Dario, listen, I just named off all the retrogrades and like full moons and all the other craziness, so I was like, if anything's going to be affected by that, it would be you guys not being able to hear me. Hey, Vibrant One. Hey, Ronnie. Hey, Sana. Hey, Kenya. Hey, Hannah. Hi, Ashley, Gabby, Dario. Listen, people who have been my clients for years will always be like, Bella, is it Mercury retrograde again? Because I will forget words and stumble over things and develop a stutter that I don't have regularly. I mean, it makes sense in a way because it's like, you know, Mercury rules communication, and then on top of it, I'm a Virgo moon, and your moon is tied to your intuition, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and there I am trying to work and can't get the right words out, but still I'm like, can you give me a break? Hey, this is Kayla. I hope I pronounced that right. Hi, Hondro. Hi, Jada. Hi, Donna. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Hi, Mimi. I'm glad you made it. Hi, Carson. Did you guys get to hear Nikki's new song? Oh my God, you guys, especially after Erica passing, that song made me so emotional that like I just kept crying and I can't listen to it without crying. So I still bought it. I still downloaded it. I'm still streaming it, but if I have things to do, I have to do it on mute because it'd be putting me in my damn emotions, and I just want to sit on to have something going on. Whew, it's gonna hit you right in the feels. So it is so Pink Friday coded. And you know what's so funny? I was talking about this with my Patreons yesterday. Is people being shocked that Nikki put out like a really vulnerable slow type song as like an album lead up. I'm like, where have you guys been? She's always done that. Like, Ganja Burns from Queen, you know, we've always had like lead singles that are, you know, more of a chill, relaxed, vulnerable, emotional side to her. So it's not like it's some new thing. Pills and potions, exactly, your love. That's why I'm just like, do people like, hello, did you forget? Right by my side, dear old Nikki. Oh my God, I love that song. That's another one that'll make you freaking cry and put you in your feelings. Grand piano too. They must be new to this. I was like, I've been here for every Nikki rollout. So, because I used to follow her back on MySpace before she even put out her first album. So when she was just in her mixtape era. Yes, it's such a good song for fall too. I'm gonna listen to it more today because it's like overcast here, and like it's supposed to be just like in the mid 70s, which is such a nice break from all of the like, we've just basically been in a nonstop heat wave in California this whole summer. So I want to make some tea and listen to the song on repeat, you know, and sit in the window and just like vibe out. Wait, what video was cute? Did I miss a video drop? Oh, you're talking about the video for dear old Nikki. Okay. I love emotional Nikki too, just as much as I do Chun-Li Nikki. All these bitches is my son's Nikki. So, which, by the way, Barbs that are watching, whether you're in the chat right now or you're watching in the replay, crew. So because Spirit's always like, oh, we have to be so careful about certain things that we, you know, read about when it comes to Nikki, because obviously the ops are always watching, you know, and waiting and plotting. And so I'm gonna add a level to my Patreon that we will do special lives just for the Barbs. That's just about Nikki. It'll be hidden behind a paywall, so it's not just like public on YouTube for everybody to see. And then on top of it, the reason why I'm doing it in Patreon instead of doing like a membership on YouTube is so we can be completely uncensored over there too. So I'll add that tier this weekend and have it posted by Monday for us, so that we have a safe space to just read on her and all of that. If you're already a part of the Patreon, you'll have access to that level. If you don't want to join the rest of the Patreon stuff and you only want to participate in the Barb level, it'll be a separate tier. So I'll have that up and posted, the links and everything, by Monday for you guys. If you want to join and have access to all of the content that we have over on Patreon, we do a lot of spiritual talk. We have monthly spirit messages. I go and do a separate live over there every week. We talk about the Illuminati and all that kind of stuff. And that is the only place that I do take requests for any videos. And all of the topics that we are doing on today's live were chosen by my patrons. So if you want access to that, you can go to patreon.com/psychicbellalove, and I do have it in the pinned comment as well as the description box for any of the replay crew. And if you did want to book your own personal and private reading, you can go to psychicbellalove.com. And you can use coupon code LABOR, all in caps, in honor of Labor Day, and get 35% off for the next week off any appointment. See, I told people called me a liar about Doja. And listen, if you guys haven't realized, Doja's just deflecting everything back onto us as the public. Oh, I'm not a Satan worshiper. I'm only just going so hard in my demon era because you guys accuse me of being one. Oh, I'm going to diss people, but then I'm going to claim that it wasn't aimed towards those people. It was because you guys say things to me, but she's doing it on purpose because guess what? She gets engagement. So then she trends. So then more people want to go listen to the song to see what the fuck was said and if they think that she's telling the truth or not. And it attaches her name to Nikki's in the algorithm because obviously Nikki is always a trending subject and will always get engagement and attention. But also because we're in the album lead up. So of course everybody is going to be talking about Nikki. So all of the duds are going to want their names attached to her right now. So, hey, Ahira. Well, this is the thing. If you really want to portray a freaking demon or the devil, what does the Bible have to say about all of that? Dorcas 12, you can go over to my Patreon. I have already explained it over there. It's not something that we talk about on here. The Bible says that demons and the devil do not show up with cloven hooves and horns and all of that stuff. They say that it shows up as something glamorous, representing something that you idolize or want. So, because think about it, if a demon came to you or the devil came to you looking like that, would you be like, oh yes, I want to sell my soul to you and I want to do your bidding? No, you would run like freaking hell screaming for God. So they always say that the devil is the biggest liar and the biggest trickster, and that he presents himself as everything that you want, and you have to use your discernment and your intuition, which is your gift from God, to be able to protect yourself and not fall prey to him. So the only reason why demons are even being portrayed the way that she was portraying it, honestly, goes back to racism and the colonizers who had to demonize African traditional religion so that they could get people under the control of their religion. And so everything that was connected to spirituality or that looked like people, you know, in the indigenous and black people, they had to turn it into something demonic. And that's why demons are portrayed the way that they are on purpose, because it's racism. So she's only perpetuating even more of the stuff that everybody has an issue with her over. She's still playing into the narrative, you know, and feeding it to the white people, you know, that she is constantly getting questioned about aligning herself with. So just saying, she definitely should be called out for that. Oh, well, thank you, Lindsay. I mean, it's sad, but all roads always lead back to racism and colonization and, you know, the destruction of Africa and indigenous peoples and their beliefs. So, oh, I'm glad you guys like Dario. And if you guys didn't see it, go to my community tab after this live and make sure you check out the live that I did with Dario. It was so much fun. We really like broke down like all the stuff that's going on with Carlos versus Tasha and now the bankruptcy and how that's all gonna affect things. So we exposed a lot and a lot about like the industry too, and we also of course dragged her for filth, so you'll have a good educational fun time over there. So it was a good one. But yeah, no, Dario is one of my best friends in real life. And, you know, I was just thinking about this last night because, like, we're always texting each other back and forth about, like, you know, different things that people claim. Like, for instance, like the whole Kim Zolciak and Corey Bierman divorce situation and how she claims one thing and then the truth comes out because he files court papers saying something completely different. And it's just funny because it's like me and Dario are just like, all we do is poke holes in everybody's bullshit. So, you know, they can lie all they want, but it's like me and him together, like we will disseminate any bullshit that somebody wants to try to spew out and lie to us about. So, no, Tasha really has taught us a lot for sure. But, and you guys, just before we move on and get into our topics for today, also I wanted to say thank you so much to everybody that showed up and showed out and showed support for LaShonda last week. We really appreciate it. You know, just a reminder, that was a fundraiser type of a thing. So in the future, if you do have requests, you have to join the Patreon. But we definitely, you know, were able to help her out a bit, and that was really helpful. And if you guys do want to continue to offer any support or help to her, you can share or rewatch the video, because I am gonna obviously give her all of the tips and everything that came in, but also all of the AdSense that we do receive from that live. So if you want to run that up a bit for her so we have more to donate with her. So, oh, I'm sorry, Preston. Well, we do have another coupon code, labor, all in caps, so you can use that to take 35% off. No, Dario definitely be dragging the fuck out of people too. That's why we're friends. That's why also I always say, like, Pisces and Libras are so much alike. It's just that they're the more emotional version of us. So, like, if you go and tell a Libra or a Pisces your problems, the Pisces is going to be like, are you okay? How does that make you feel? Whereas the Libra is going to be like, okay, so this is what we're going to do to fix this situation. But other than that, like, we're basically like the same. Just take out all the emotional element. So, and yes, you guys can continue to still donate directly to $ capital Pookie with a capital P, the Great 69 as well. So he definitely drags them for filth. So anyways, guys, but and LaShonda wanted me to let you guys all know thank you so much and that she really appreciated it. They had Erica's homegoing yesterday, so I know it's kind of a tough weekend for them, so we're going to continue to keep the family in our thoughts and prayers. Taurus would be filing their nails as you cry. Oh my God. So, all right, guys, let's get into our topics today. So let's start with Blue Cantrell and Jay-Z. Because if you guys didn't know, they did date back in the day right before he got with Beyoncé, and allegedly there was some crossover maybe between those relationships, which is also why a lot of people think it is weird as hell that they would name their child Blue Ivy, given that your ex-girlfriend went by the name Blue as well. But I don't think that it bothers Beyonce because she walks around with Kathy White's engagement ring on her finger. So, you know, there's that. You guys can look it up. There's pictures online. Look up Kathy White diamond ring, and then look up Beyonce's engagement ring. So you will see exactly what we mean. Yeah, it's very suspicious, especially since she hurt her head and passed away after that too. Spirit, what can you tell me about you? And isn't it interesting that Blue no longer has much of a career either? I mean, it's not like the Carters are known for blackballing people or anything. Listen, that was back in the era when Jay-Z probably, I think, well, it was like around the time that him and Beyonce got married. He was having a lot of financial problems. That was when he had those penthouses in New York, like mortgaged to the freaking hilt. And even though he was trying to sell them, like, he wasn't going to get any money back, basically, because he had kept taking out loans against them, and they couldn't get qualified for a mortgage for a place in LA, so they kept having to rent. There was a lot going on with them at that point in time. They were like, you know, the rich people version of broke. You can have access to like more credit and loans and things than like us normal people could, but you're still in fucking debt and you still don't have, you know, liquid assets in the bank. So, Hit 'em Up Style was definitely a bop. Okay, this is the funny thing that's like coming up. Spirit's saying when Jay, you know, sort of went after Blue, because it's definitely that he chased after her, she never fully trusted, like, oh, like, you know, you're a young guy, you're in hip hop, you've got access to people and things, like there's no way in hell that you're gonna stay faithful to me, even though that's what he was like telling her he was gonna do. Because Spirit's saying he was really like just bullshitting out through his ass to her. We're gonna get married, we're gonna be a power couple, don't worry, I'm always gonna be faithful to you. Oh, I'm gonna like take your career and blow it up and this and that. And Spirit's saying that she took it all with a grain of salt, so to speak, because it's like she'd been around enough in the industry to know, like, obviously people will tell you anything in the industry. And to her, it was more like, I'm going to have fun with this, and then I'm going to really, like, see, like, you know, where this goes, whatever, and if it does benefit me for my career. But she wasn't sitting there holding on to this idea that they were going to spend the rest of their lives together. Spirit saying, obviously, she cheated on him nonstop. There's something here about him getting involved in some deal that she had and it going completely south for her and him benefiting from it. Like, oh, I was supposed to have some sort of, say, Pepsi endorsement, and he got in the middle of it and wanted to negotiate things because he was trying to convince me, oh, like, I'm going to get into management and I can make sure that they pay you more and I'm going to be able to, like, you know, make this deal be way better than if you go with your regular agents and people do that. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, the deal fell apart, but then, you know, as soon as you guys break up, you see Jay-Z in a Pepsi commercial, and it's like, what the actual F? He really screwed her over financially, and she started finding out that not only was he cheating on her and looking to replace her, but that he was really going after, like, whoever was the newest, hottest thing at the moment. So, you know, when he was chasing after Aaliyah, then when he went chasing after Beyonce, like, she started seeing it as like, you're trying to ride somebody else's wave. You're not really truly, you know, looking for a real relationship. You're just looking to tie yourself to somebody that you think is going to blow up so that you can be that power couple in the industry, but it's not a real thing. It's just another business transaction to you. And how does Jay benefit from this? So Spirit saying, you know, she broke up with him because she just felt like there was a lot of like inconsistencies, lies. Obviously, like, she was hearing that he was running around after other women. After they broke up is when she really started hearing even more shit that he was doing behind the scenes, and she found out that he really did go and skip past her and advocate for other people to have opportunities over her, even though he was coming home to her at night and lying in her face and telling her, oh, we're gonna do this and I'm gonna make sure that this happens for you. And then you break up and you're like, the guy that was supposed to be my boyfriend was secretly going around blackballing me because he was trying to get in good with somebody else. Like, what the F? So he's definitely fucked with her career sense for sure. And Spirit saying that she is really, really scared of him because she did see what happened to Kathy White, and there's been other females that she's seen and heard about things that he's done to in order to put them in a position where they would not be able to speak up or be scared to. So anytime that she is asked about him, she plays it off and acts like, oh, we don't really date, or like, oh no, Jay's cool, whatever. But it's not because that's how she feels. It's because she's terrified of him and she doesn't want to end up being the next Kathy White. And especially as time has gone on and him and his wife have only gotten more and more powerful within the industry, it's really, you know, I'm not taking any chances here because I still need to feed myself and I still need to like wake up tomorrow. So that's her perspective on things. As far as Jay's goes, Spirit saying he really was in a position where he was, you know, in that I'm just looking to run around in the industry and get whatever I can out of it, whether it's I want to hit every pretty girl that I come across, or, you know, I want to try to find my Mrs. Right, which is basically, you know, to him, again, it was a business transaction. He always knew, I'm not going to marry somebody that I'm going to be head over heels in love with and want to stay faithful to and this and that. Jay was always looking at whoever he ended up with being, you know, that we're a brand, we're a power couple, everybody looks up to us, we run the industry. Like, that was where he's at right now with his marriage and his life, is what his goal has always been, basically. So, I mean, I guess congratulations to him on his manifestations coming true. But you know, when people say that Jay really doesn't have any feelings, that he's probably like a psychopath or a sociopath, I wouldn't argue with them that they're wrong. So, but you know what? Both of them have benefited off of each other so much when you think about it. Because at the end of the day, you have to be a very cutthroat person to be in Jay's shoes and to have the status that he has in this industry. You know, we're going to talk about her and Usher later, but it's like Usher doesn't have the disposition when it comes down to it to really go around and not give a shit if he screws everybody over. Not everybody is willing to, you know, just keep building companies and selling them to the white man just so that you could say you're a billionaire. You know, it's like you have to be a certain kind of person to be able to do the things that he's done in order to be in the position that he's in, and not everybody's able to do something like that. And Beyoncé, as much as, like, you know, she is what she is, she wouldn't have been in the position that she's in if she wasn't married to somebody like Jay. Just saying, you know, because look at how many businesses she's tried to start herself that always end up failing. She was gonna need somebody that was more business minded in order for her to be able to be in the position that she's in as well. So they both have benefited each other, and they both wouldn't be in the position that they're in if they'd ended up with other people. I mean, it's just the truth, good or bad. I hope he enjoys himself, because when karma hits him upside the head, his lock's gonna fall off, like Azalea Banks said. Oh my God, that was funny. I mean, that's the thing with Azalea Banks is she will say some really off the wall stuff sometimes that you're just like, girl, you went too far. But then sometimes her reads and drags just be so damn hilarious. So no, she really doesn't have a business bone. I mean, what questions do you guys have about this situation? Put question in front of it in the chat so I can make sure I see it. It really will be. I mean, this is the thing, guys, that I always tell you. These people always end up getting exposed one way or the other, you know. Yeah, Hugh Hefner had to pass away for him to be exposed, but he still got exposed and had his legacy ruined afterwards, right? Especially when you think about the fact that, you know, a lot of these people really are working to create legacies. And when you think about somebody like the Carters, obviously they're trying to set their kids up to take their place someday. Same thing with the Kardashians, you know, they're grooming the kids, all their little girls that they all had to be the next, you know, Kourtney, Kim, Kylie, Kendall, whatever, money makers for the family. So same thing with Playboy. I mean, Hugh Hefner had kids that he was planning on leaving his company and all that stuff too, and now they have a destroyed legacy that they can't you know, really restore that brand. It's struggled no matter which position they've taken and how they've tried to, you know, fix things. Which once again, Barb's, you know, there's Carlos's genius. Oh, this company's getting canceled for horrendous things. You know what? Now is the perfect time for me to attach myself to them and be their brand ambassador. Like, girl, why don't you start playing host to people out on Epstein Island next? Like, just go all the way with it, Carlos. Which, by the way, guys, did you see the video that's going around of them doing the electric slide or line dancing, whatever, at the Renaissance tour? And it's like Jay-Z, Corey Gamble, Off-Cheat, and Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner is just like in her own fucking world in that. Like, everybody's turning left and she's spinning in circles and turning around. And then there's Off-Cheat in his Michael Jackson knockoff costume again, dancing, step into the left, step into the right with this weird look on his face. And it's just like, the Michael Jackson cosplaying needs to end. That's all I'm gonna say, because you will never live up to any of the greatness that that man had. You just look like a freaking fruitcake when you try to dress up like him and give more credence to the rumors that the reason why you keep cheating on your wife with all those females is because you're looking for a man, not a female. And no woman will ever be able to satisfy you when your true love is a man. Off-Cheat. So, if you guys haven't seen it, it was on Block Topics Instagram. It's hilarious. And my friend Soul goes, there goes Kris Jenner once again being in black people's business and having no idea why she's there or what's really going on, but she still got to make sure that she gets some clout or money out of it. And like, just summed her right up, right? Kris Jenner's like, I have no idea what's going on, but I know that this is gonna get on the blog, so let me hop in and start spinning around and acting like I know what I'm doing. He should just go and be one of Jimmy and 21 Mistress's boyfriends. Oh my God. She was giving the classic Karen smile. Oh my God, she was. She was trying to act like, oh, look at me, I'm just having the time of my life at the Beyonce concert standing next to Jay-Z. So, Chris looks drunk as per usual. Creepy Chris is on the case. You guys are so funny. Okay, so let me see. I'm answering the questions that you guys put up there. How does Camel feel about Blue? How does Blue feel like having Blue named after her? Has Beyonce played a role in destroying Blue's career, or was it all Jay? Spirit saying that was all Jay because he was always going to, whether, you know, he ended up with Aaliyah, Beyonce, Blue Cantrell, Carrie Hilson, you know, Maya, any other girl in the industry. And I'm not saying Carrie Hilson and Maya were connected to him. I'm just talking about people that were, you know, sort of around and vying for the same spots back at that time. Any one of them that he would have picked, Spirit saying he would have gone after any other woman that could have been compared to whoever he chose as his partner in crime, no pun intended. And because of that, it's like, you know, he would have tried to do whatever he could behind the scenes to blackball anybody else, because obviously, like, he wanted to marry the top R&B or pop girl or whatever, you know, genre that they're trying to fit in. So that's the thing, you know, if he did end up with Maya, Beyonce would have been the one that he went after and blackballed so that she couldn't have that spot, and all the spotlight would be on whoever he chose as his partner, because that was always his goal. We want to be the top people in the industry, the top power couple. We run this shit. So he was always playing the long game. How does Blue feel like having Blue Ivy named after her? Spirit is saying it creeps her the fuck out, and she actually went to go get herself some spiritual protection because she was worried that maybe it was some kind of like setup or satanic sacrifice type of situation. Like, we're going to name our child after you, and then you go missing and we harvest your spirit and try to trap it in the baby's body so that it'll grow up and be a performer. Like, she doesn't put anything past them. So, and how does Camel feel about Blue? Spirit saying as long as she doesn't blow up his shit, he's okay with her, but he does keep an eye on her. So, Kris Jenner is definitely creepy. His Bride of Darkness. You guys, we've been calling the Renaissance tour the Reign of Terror tour because I saw that on one of the Aaliyah fan pages. This was talking about how, like, if Aaliyah was still around and if other people that were popular during that time didn't have their careers, you know, sort of stifled or blackballed, that, like, we never would have gotten the robot reign of terror that we've been under ever since. So now that's what we're calling the tour, the Reign of Terror tour, because it was hilarious. Well, that's the only reason why Rihanna hasn't, you know, been blackballed or had her career destroyed, because number one, think about it. Even serial killers will still have friends that they leave alive, because you can't let everybody really see everything that you're up to. So he still had to have a couple artists that it's like, no, look, like, they turned out great. And then think about it. Rihanna's the perfect advertisement for him to trick people like Megan Thee Stallion to want him to manage them, because they want to have their own Fenty Beauty. They want their career to blow up like Rihanna's did. And so he tricks all these people into thinking that signing with him is a good idea, because it's like, he turned Rihanna into a superstar, so I want to be the next Rihanna. And then on the flip side of that, you know, he's benefiting off of it because he gets percentages of whatever she does and sells and all of that. Same way that like Diddy turned around and decided that he was going to give all of his artists their publishing. It's only because Diddy is in a space where he's trying to rehab his image, if y'all haven't noticed. And so, because he knows, like, people have been calling him out on his shit way too much and things are starting to get hot for him. So it's like, let's distract everything. Let's make it seem like I'm a good guy. Oh, by the way, I have an album coming out. Make sure you support that because look, I gave all my artists their publishing back. So I'm the good guy, even though it literally took you like 40 years to do that. Because you could have done it way before now. Why'd you wait until now? You want to know why? Because of laws, and it's been a certain amount of time, so royalties aren't going to be as much. So now that you're not going to get paid as much, it's time to give it back. Oh, thank you. And for anybody that likes my sweater, I got it from Target. Probably like at the beginning of the year. I think they still sell it online. They always have Hello Kitty stuff at Target now. Jay doesn't do shit for anybody's careers. Doja Cat used to be signed to them. She didn't blow up until she got away from him. When people want to talk about that Mariah Carey went to Roc Nation for management, she was barely there and she turned around and left immediately. And the only reason why she signed with them was because it was her agent that she's worked with for years and years and years went to go work at Roc Nation, and then they didn't stay at Roc Nation very long and they left, and Mariah left with him. And that's the thing, that they'll always make a huge deal and make sure it hits the blogs that, oh, look at this football quarterback signed with Roc Nation, or, you know, this new up and coming rapper that you guys barely just heard about from TikTok is now signed to Roc Nation. But they make sure that you never hear about all of the people who leave Roc Nation. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, Mariah and Jay got into it. That's the thing that I love about Mariah Carey and her whole Aries self. She will let you freaking know how she feels, and she doesn't give a shit. She's like, at the end of the day, honey, I am from Long Island and I am an Aries. I will tell you about yourself, and I ain't gonna let anybody step on my toes or tell me what to do. I don't give a shit if you're Jay-Z or not. So let's move on to Destiny's Child, the original lineup. What questions did you guys have about that whole situation? But Mariah, don't be playing. I mean, I love Mariah, but then on the other hand, I do always am like, because the way that she treated Nikki on American Idol was so bad. And for anybody that wants to like ever try to defend Mariah in that situation, there's producers that were working on the show at that time that have come out and said that, you know, that they were like literally like felt so bad for Nikki and it was so uncalled for, and they said that there was so much that they edited out that was far worse than anything that we saw airing, and that they had to pull Mariah to the side and be like, she didn't do anything to you, like you need to leave her alone. Like, it was bad. So oh, thank you, Eric. Yeah, Mariah was definitely the problem in that situation, because she was mad because when she signed her deal for the show, she was supposed to be the only female on the panel. And then they show up to start filming and Nikki's there. So rather than her taking out her anger on the show and the producers and the people who lied to her, she took it out on Nikki and bullied her. And that's why production said that they had to step in and really be like, your anger is misdirected and you need to leave that girl alone. Like, this is too much. So she was definitely being a mean girl. How did LaToya and Latavia feel about being left out? Make sure you guys put question in front of your question so that I can see it and it doesn't get lost with the rest of the comments. I know. That's why when people act like, oh, like, Nikki has been getting hate from the industry since the very start, and it wasn't even ever just only from people within the hip-hop community. You know, she dealt with the Miley Cyrus stuff, with Mariah bullying her, the Grammy board early on. Like, everybody always has had some kind of problem with Nikki for some reason. She's always been a target within the industry. So hold the questions, guys. Let me get through the ones that are already up, and then I'll take more. I think that she made a lot of people intimidated because she was so talented too. And they were, you know, stressing out about that. Hold the questions, guys. Let me get through the ones that I've already got up on here so I can answer those. Oh boy. This is what's funny about this is that, you know, about them being, how did LaToya and Latavia feel about being left out? Spirit's saying that, like, far before even the stuff that they discuss about what actually happened and not falling out and stuff, they were already feeling like there was a plot against them. And maybe not so much about, like, let's get rid of you, but more so, like, let's not give you certain verses to sing, and let's not make sure that you have all of that camera time for performances or music videos. And they felt like they were being, their roles were being diminished within the group. And they started feeling like not only was Matthew obviously prepping Beyoncé to end up being a solo artist and a solo star, but at the same time, they felt like he was also doing it to Kelly. Like, oh, at some point you're going to dissolve the group and then push Kelly and Beyoncé as their own artists without us, and we're just going to be left behind like yesterday's news and not included in anything. So Spirit's saying it's like in a weird way they really sensed it and like they weren't completely surprised. It was more of a shock of like, that's how you did it and this is when you did it, but it wasn't, oh, we never thought that this would happen. So I do feel like there was a whole thing afterwards of not only Matthew, but other people that worked on the industry part of things, you know, that had a vested interest in making sure that Destiny's Child continued and that it did do well and they were also in on the whole idea of, you know, grooming Beyonce to become her own solo artist. That also played a part in making sure that not only Latoya and Latavia, but basically anybody who later on would not, you know, stay in the group too, wouldn't have a whole lot of opportunities, because the way that Matthew looks at it is, we gave you the recipe. Like, everybody had the same recipe. So I don't want you going out and making yourself a success based off of everything that you learned being around us. So I want to stomp you down, because otherwise you could end up being some sort of competition towards what we have going on over here. And obviously, in life in general, but especially when it comes to the industry, what do people always do? They don't want you to do better than them, especially when they cut you out. They want to see you flounder and fail. So that's where they were at with that, sadly. The tea on Beyonce and Farrah Franklin's beef. Spirit saying that Beyonce was extremely jealous of Farrah. She never wanted Farrah to be a part of the group anyways. Like, when they, you know, added her and Michelle, Spirit saying that Beyonce was always advocating that they only add Michelle, because she didn't see Michelle as any sort of competition to her. She knew nobody's going to compare me and Kelly to Michelle and say Michelle's better than us, but she felt like, oh, you know, they're going to compare Farrah and me together and against each other because we're both the pretty lighter girls in the group and both of us can sing really good. And so she always just had, she was always, you know, just always like, ugh, I can't stand her and I'm going to do whatever I can to like get her out of here. So there was definite bullying that was happening and definite complaints and things being made by Beyonce over and over and over again behind the scenes, trying to get rid of Farrah, because she really was jealous and did not want to be compared to her and didn't want to compete with her. See, love, that doesn't have anything to do with Destiny's Child right now. We're sticking to the topic. But also, if you would like to know the answer to that, you can go to patreon.com/psychicbellalove, because I've already covered that over there. And was Beyonce jealous of Farrah Franklin? I just basically answered that. Okay, you guys can drop some more questions now. Everybody in the industry does spiritual work, you guys. Whether it's abundance work so that they can get, you know, certain things. So say, and again, this is just, you know, an example. Gwyneth Paltrow wants, you know, she's going up against Cameron Diaz for the lead role in some movie that they think is going to be some huge Oscar nominated blockbuster. So she's going to go, you know, and do some spiritual work to try to help her get that position. Some people, it's because they're constantly, you know, doing spiritual protection because they know they're in an industry. I mean, the entire industry worships Satan. So a big part of being a Luciferian is doing spiritual work anyways. And Jay-Z and Beyonce, you can look it up. They are, well, especially Jay-Z is a follower of Crowley, who is the father of the modern Luciferian church. And you can join us on patreon.com/psychicbellalove to learn more, because I have more than exposed the Carters over there and all their involvement and that kind of stuff. So, okay, how did Beyonce feel about all the members of the group? I mean, she's always been very self-centered. So as far as Beyonce felt, I mean, this is the thing. She doesn't look at her friendships and her connections with people the same way that we do. It's very Kim Kardashian like. I mean, I always tell people Beyonce and Tina are really no different than Kim and Chris. They're just not as outwardly thirsty and obvious with the stuff that they do, but they're the same. And basically, you know, it's like as far as Beyonce goes, it's the same way that Kim is. I'll be cool with you if it benefits me. And if it's, you know, sometimes that benefit is just that you're going to be loyal to me. Because think about it. How many times Beyonce never addresses anything that's being said about her unless it's in music, right? But there's so many times that things have happened and people start talking, and then the next thing you know, Michelle's on a podcast and they just happen to ask her about it, and she just happens to defend Beyonce. Or Kelly will get on Twitter and tell everybody to shut up and stop saying stuff. So it's, you know, are you going to be my loyal followers? Or are you going to make me look good? Because obviously, even though she wanted to be a solo artist, she would obviously, when you're in a group with people, the whole group will be judged, not just the individuals within the group. So, you know, there was the motivation of like, can you sing and dance and keep up and not embarrass us? But was it, I genuinely want to build a real, true, lifelong friendship with you? No. Is it, I'm going to give you the bare bones and tell you that you're my sister and we're family because then you're always going to have my back and it looks good for me? Because think about it. Beyonce also didn't stay friends with those girls. Then it would have proven everything that people were saying about her when they went through 12 million breakups in the original group. Because people kept saying that Beyonce can't get along with other women and all kinds of stuff. So, and no more questions on this subject, guys, because after I'm done with the ones that are up here, we're going to move on to Beyonce and Usher. How does Farrah feel about Beyonce now? She's scared of her. I mean, this is the thing, guys. Anybody that's ever fallen out with Jay-Z and Beyonce, unless they're somehow just as powerful in the industry, Spirit saying they're all scared because they know what they're capable of and the things that they'll do and the people that they have connections with and can do it with. So she's, you know, it's like... I will publicly say I'm good with her. I will be nice to her. If I see her in person or if I see Jay in person, I'm going to shake their hand. But really, it's more of a matter of protecting yourself and survival and not so much that I actually like that person. So Farrah said that her and Beyonce are fine now and they've even seen each other and said hi and stuff. So is LaToya and Latavia. Trust and believe that none of them are actually truly, you know, oh my God, yes, I love Beyonce and it wasn't our fault and we were just little kids back then. It's more, it benefits me much more to say, oh, that was in the past and we're good now, and keep my mouth shut. Because I want to work and I want to be alive. How does Beyonce feel about Aaliyah reaching out to LaToya? Oh, trust and believe that annoyed her. Because if y'all haven't heard, allegedly, Beyonce has an altar of Aaliyah in her house. Did Kelly want the success like Beyonce? I don't feel like Kelly was ever gunning to be seen as a legend or, you know, have the Michael Jackson comparisons that plays. There's really no comparison between Michael Jackson and Beyonce, but that people try to attach to them. But you know, Kelly wasn't like gunning for all that kind of stuff. I feel like with her, she just wanted to have enough success because she does enjoy performing. She does enjoy this. And so it's like, I want to keep doing it and make enough money that I don't have to worry about things. But she also wanted to have the balance and being able to have a life of her own and have a family and stuff, and not just constantly be in the studio, be on tours, be hounded by paparazzi and all of that. So I feel like she's happy with where she's at in life right now as far as her career. Anya, I wouldn't trust anyone in Hollywood to be real friends. Because when you think about it, every single person in your industry is your competition in one way or another. You know, you're going to be competing against them for different awards. You're going to be competing against them for roles or to get a spot being a feature on a certain person's song. You're always competing against each other, and when people have to compete against each other, they'll do dirty shit to each other to be the one that comes out ahead. And so I wouldn't trust or be friends with anybody in the industry, like if I was in it, because you're damn sure at some point gonna throw my ass under the bus or do something dirty to me if I'm up for the same thing that you are and you want to win it. What did Beyonce think of Foxy Brown? Was she also jealous of her? I don't really get that Beyonce is jealous of Foxy just because she feels like they're such different people. The image, the music, who they are. So it's like, it wasn't, I mean, and this is the thing, as much as people try to make it out to seem like, oh, when Beyonce is upset or jealous over some other woman that Jay-Z is paying attention to, it doesn't come from the same place where you or I may be jealous of another woman, you know, that used to be with our man or is trying to get our man's attention or whatever, where we're worrying about, does he not love me and he's gonna fall in love with her again kind of stuff. Because again, there's no love in this relationship. It's a business partnership. So if she does have some jealousy or concern or worry about what Jay's doing, it's either you're going to embarrass me because then you're going to get caught cheating on me publicly, and then I'm going to look like Bobo the Fool for taking you back again. No more questions, guys. Or, you know, you're gonna decide that you want to leave me and go be a new power couple with her, and now I'm gonna lose the stability, the access, the status, everything that we work so hard for together. And that's where it's like, it's a threat to my career, it's a threat to my financial situation, it's a threat to my fame, but not because you're a threat to my marriage and you know, my husband's gonna decide he loves you more, if that makes sense. Oh, I'm sure it definitely did. Will there be another Destiny's Child reunion? Okay, this is the last question that I'm going to answer about that. Just like similar to what we got on the, you know, Super Bowl and Coachella, where it's just like, you know, Kelly and Michelle come and join her for a performance type of a thing, which also look at how we've never gotten a Destiny's Child reunion where it was Michelle was performing and Kelly and Beyonce showed up to jump in and on stage for a little, you know, mini reunion and perform a little medley together. It's always only when it benefits Beyonce because she has something going on. So there will be something similar like that that happens again, but will there ever be like a whole millennium tour type of a situation with them? No. So, all right, let's go to Beyonce and Usher. What questions do y'all got about that? And make sure you put question in front of your question so it doesn't get lost in the comments. That's why she can't leave Rihanna alone, right? Matthew gets a check off a reunion. That's true too. I feel like there's also like motivation in that because she doesn't want her dad to benefit from certain things or other people too. Oh, they definitely hooked up, Lindsay. She's not the innocent little virgin until she got married that like they tried to portray her to be by any means. She was running around in the industry too. It's just that her daddy made sure that it didn't get out because he had her reputation to protect, obviously, because of the financial aspects of it. Because this is the thing, guys, let me tell you, for those who are, you know, young and don't remember, because I'm only, what, a year or two younger than how old Beyonce claims that she is. You couldn't be a sexy red or an Ice Spice back then. Even as much as Lil' Kim was running around with her ass out and talking about what she was talking about, the only reason why she got a pass with it was because she was attached to Biggie, and then still at that, it was like, no, that's Biggie's girl, and like, she couldn't just be hopping around and being like, oh, I just slept with anybody just because I felt like it, the way that girls do these days. So that's why, you know, there was that big push that Britney's this innocent little virgin, and so is Beyonce, because they felt like if that's what they pushed, you know, audiences to believe, then the kids that they wanted to sell the music to, their parents, were much more likely to let their kid listen to them. So there was a lot of people hooking up with each other and doing all kinds of dirt back in the day that was definitely covered up. Jay totally has an issue with it. This is the thing. Jay can't blackball Usher the same way that he did to Sean Paul. But trust and believe that Jay definitely had a problem with it. Why do you think that we don't see Usher and Beyonce performing together anymore? And he only allowed it in the first place was just because it was about elevating Beyonce's career, you know, by letting her perform with people like Usher. But haven't you noticed, like, since they've gotten married, the only man that she's ever been allowed to perform with outside of like African artists for Black is King was Chris Martin, and that's because like they were all friends with each other. You know, because remember when Gwyneth Paltrow and Beyonce were best friends for 5 minutes? So that's the only reason. But we're only answering questions about Beyonce and Usher right now, Emiliano. Jay stays shutting everything down. He does. And think about it too. The one person in the industry who is considered to be Jay's equal is Diddle Bop. And Diddle Bop has a very close relationship and is invested in Usher. So that's also why Usher didn't get canceled, because if you start fucking with Usher, then you're fucking with Diddy, and then y'all got beef. And then that might not go well for either one of you, and that's not something that like either of your handlers would allow. So, you know what? I was saying this yesterday in Patreon because on Dario's live, because the news had just, came out that Billy Porter got blackballed from anything Vogue related because he referred to Anna Wintour as that bitch Anna. And the whole issue was because she went and got all this information from him and then turned around and basically put Harry Styles on the cover of Vogue cosplaying as Billy Porter. And so he was calling her out for it and how she basically used him. And so I was just saying, for the sheer fact that Jay-Z and Diddy always want to keep shouting, it's black owned for the black community. Oh, this is, because they always, if you guys haven't noticed, they love to play that card to try to force you to participate and support whatever business they have going on, which they always forget to say, I'm the only black person that's going to benefit from this situation, but give me your money anyways. How come neither one of them have started a luxury fashion magazine like Vogue for the black community if they care so much, especially given that they run in those same circles? They're at fashion shows. And like I was saying, it would have benefited Rock Nation to have something like that, because then it's a selling point to your clients. You're going to be featured in our magazine if you sign with us for management. And then you get to boost the profile of the people you manage. So it's like you're keeping everything in-house and benefiting back over it. And y'all could have made up your own Met Gala that supported your magazine, and y'all wouldn't have to go and be dancing around and trying to get Anna Wintour's approval. Just saying. And that's you guys, honest to God truth. That's why people need to stop tap dancing and trying to get Grammys when it's just run by racist ass white people who don't give a shit. They never pick they'll always pick the album of the year for some album that 99% of people didn't even listen to anyways or didn't even know existed. Like when Beck won, I totally got what Kanye was saying when he's like, who even knew that Beck had an album out and how many people even know who Beck is? Like, but there was other albums that black artists put out that year that were incredibly successful and everybody was listening to them regardless of if you're white, black, Asian, Mexican, whatever. So it's like, stop trying to fit in spaces where they're only going to just look down on you and hold you back and not support you. Stop trying to go to the Met Gala and kiss up to Anna Wintour. Like, who cares? It's people that give them power. If you stop making them feel like you need their permission, they don't have any more power over you. And this just goes for everybody in life. If somebody doesn't see your value or your worth, don't try to force them to. Walk the fuck away and go find your people that do see your value and worth and where you are celebrated. Because you're not going to get anywhere fighting against the fucking ocean waves. Swim with the water that wants you to be in it. And that's really, truly a lesson for everybody, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's at work, whether it's trying to impress Anna Wintour. Like, that goes for everything in life. There will always be people like you and people who will love you and see your worth. You just have to find them. But you don't have to tap dance and try to prove it to the wrong people. Exactly. Billy definitely got played. Well, and that's the thing. There's so many people that have won Grammys that nobody even remembers that they ever existed. Like, you can go back and see how many people that won, like, best new artist or best song or album of the year or whatever, that was literally the last year that they even had a career, because they were a real one-hit wonder, one album wonder. So just because somebody has earned a award does not actually mean that they're going to have a lifelong successful career. And there's plenty of people who haven't won awards, or the big ones like Nicki, that still have a career. Like all these girls that want to throw it in her face. I have 3 Grammys. I'm a Grammy Award winner and my songs live in the top 10. Guess what? 15 years from now, you're not going to still have a career. But Nicki still has a career 15 years in. Is that Grammy going to still pay your bills 15 years from now? No. But if you are a successful artist that created a good fan base and put out consistently good music and consistently toured, you can live off of that for the entirety of the rest of your life. Look at the Rolling Stones. They're like 112 years old and they can still sell out arenas and do tours. And they don't even be putting out new music half the time. It's the reunion tour, and we released a greatest hits album, or we remastered our first ever album, or it's the anniversary of an album. And people, I've seen the Rolling Stones in concert, guys. They had it was in the Oaklands, where the Raiders used to play. This was back in like the late 90s, because I was in high school, and it was like some retirement or anniversary or greatest hits tour or something like that. That entire stadium was freaking packed. And there was people from every single generation in there. I thought I was just going to be sitting next to a bunch of old people all night. There's people that were like in their 20s there. They were there on their own because they liked the Rolling Stones. That's what happens when you have longevity in your career and you didn't prioritize being #1 on Billboard and getting Grammys and payola, but that you actually consistently put out good music and curated a fan base. We've never heard of Mick Jagger going bankrupt. We've never heard that Keith Richards' house got foreclosed on. Their kids and grandkids are going to be eating off of the royalties that they're always going to keep earning. Do you think Invasion of Privacy is going to pay Carlos's great-grandkids' bills? I mean, and what is she going to do? Go on the anniversary tour of Invasion of Privacy? You guys, it's been 20 years since my one and only album came out. I mean, and yeah, Mariah Carey, the Christmas thing, you know, is like she streams, but Mariah Carey also has hella other hits. Literally every other week, there's some Mariah Carey song that's a new TikTok challenge. Mariah is thriving. But guess what? That's because Mariah put out more than one album and she went on tour. And she kept her fan base. And that's what's gonna fail all of these girls that just want to tie themselves to Nicki. They're not getting their own genuine fans. They're getting people that don't like Nicki, who then go on Twitter and blow their heads up and hype them up. And then when they release something, it goes absolutely fucking nowhere. It goes on bubbling under, or it peaks at 89 and then falls right off the charts again. That's why they don't sell anything, and that's why you will only see them at festivals where it's guaranteed that tickets are going to sell, because people wanted to see Lil Uzi, who's going to perform after you, and they're tolerating you until you get off the stage and Uzi gets on the stage. Not because they actually showed up to see you, Clayco Karen. So they don't have real fans. And that's why if their shit does blow up, if they do get dropped, if they did try to release as independent, they would be screwed because nobody would be supporting it. And that's the thing that when you really think about it too, guys, there's so many people that are quote unquote mainstream, like a Sweetie, like a Coil Ray, like a Lotto. They have industry backing. They're signed to labels. They get radio play and they still flop. So there's no way that they could ever do the Iggy Azalea or Tory Lanez thing and go completely independent because they would end up bankrupt. And as much as people want to, you know, shit on Iggy Azalea, she is able to release her own music. She is able to have her own career and fund things herself and doesn't need a label behind her. That's actually a big deal that somebody can do that. So she is so loved by the Spanish and Portuguese community. I didn't know that. Listen, I also said this. Iggy had a baby the year before Carlos. In the time since she's had her son, she's put out multiple albums. She had a makeup line. She's had other brand things that she's done. She's done a bunch of tours and performances. Carlos just keeps complaining that she's on the world's longest maternity leave of 5 years. And Culture is going to be graduating from college before Carlos ends that maternity leave that she's been on. So, yeah. See, look at Iggy has another album coming. So it's just like, and because Carlos always wants to be like, everybody hates on me. Everybody hates on Iggy Azalea. She can never live down certain things. And there are people that are going to say that she sucks regardless because they don't like her because of past things that happened. But she does have talent and she can write and she can rap and you can understand her when she raps. So, you know, but she's somebody that she doesn't have the industry support. She doesn't have payola. She doesn't have Atlantic behind her. She wasn't, you know, given all these opportunities, but she makes the most out of everything that she can. And there's a difference. And this is why I always keep telling people, Carlos is fucking inherently lazy. She really is. Kalani had a baby and she still went on tours and put out albums. Like, Carlos acts like she's the only person in the industry that's ever had kids. Pretty much everybody in the industry has kids. And they still get in the studio and they still go on tours and they work because guess what? That child that they have is motivation. I want to make sure that I can send my kid to college. I want to make sure that he can go to private school. I want to make sure that he can have a backyard and a swing set. I want to make sure that my kid's going to be good. So that's my motivation to go in the studio and bust my ass. Using your child as an excuse to not work and to act like you're the only person in the industry that's ever had a baby and nobody understands what it's like. And it's like, girl, really? She thinks she is mega mind. People forget she made albums. Exactly. That's the thing about Rihanna. Rihanna, when she decided to take a break, as you know, as much as people want to agree with it or not, the girl literally would put out an album, go on tour, come back from the tour, put out another album, and go right back on tour, and did that for like 10 years straight. That's why Rihanna is in the position that she was in, And even when she took her break from music, which was completely well-deserved, the entire time that we thought that she was just running around and partying, she was building Fenty Beauty behind the scenes, because obviously, especially if you're not going to private label things through Morphe or ColourPop, you know, it takes a minute to get a business together and to find chemists and labs and, you know, what products you're going to put out and all the research that, you know, I'm sure it was probably like a good couple years of research and lab stuff before they were able to come out with all of the foundations. Because remember, she did something that nobody had ever seen in the industry when she dropped those foundations, that they had a bazillion shades and undertones, and it was, you know, super inclusive and not something that people had seen before. So as much as people can shit on Rihanna, that it's like, oh, well, she has to put out music, the girl has still been working. Like, let's give her credit. Carlos just uses every excuse, because what happened to Barty Beauty? What happened to the hairline that she was going to put out? Remember the dolls? Did anybody ever get their WAP merchandise? I ask this question constantly because I have never seen WAP merchandise in any fan's hands every time I Google it. But remember, they kept blaming it on the pandemic. And Carson, how hard would it have been for her to go do a Morphe collab so she could have put out the damn makeup? Now it's too late because Morphe went bankrupt. She could have gone to ColourPop. I mean, she was in all buddy enough with the Kardashians for them to give her a list of plastic surgeons to go to. So you really think that Chris wouldn't have taken you down to ColourPop and said Cardi wants to start a lip kit business too, and taken her 10% and helped you out with that? Because that's the thing. If you weren't going to go on tour, you had plenty of time at least to sit on your ass and make a makeup line. Everybody else in the industry has come out with a makeup line, or at least did some sort of collaboration. Although, let's give credit to Nicki, because Nicki did it first with the MAC collaboration that kept selling out and made more money than any other lipstick collaboration at that time. So Carlos is just full of excuses because she doesn't want to work, and she'll do anything to get out of it because she just wanted to be famous and she wanted money. And honestly, if that's the case, then she should have just went and tried to do the Kardashian thing and started a reality show. Because they don't do anything and they got a show out of it and have gotten all this money and access and stuff. So if she was really smart, she would have done that, because she does at least have somewhat of an entertaining personality. And I think people would have watched it. But by the time that she circles back around to that, because that'll be when she absolutely has to, because every opportunity has dried up, it'll be too late, because nobody's going to give a shit about her and Off Cheat to watch it then. That's the sad reality. She's just going to burn herself out. But if you guys want more details on how much she has screwed herself, go to my community tab if you haven't already and click on the video that me and Dario did on Thursday. Because you will see that she has completely screwed herself financially more than anybody realizes, and why Atlantic is no longer willing to take any chances on her, because she owes them for more than just the payola and albums. So, but anyways, guys, I have to wrap it up. If you want to join the Patreon, that is the only place that I take video requests. It is patreon.com/psychicbellalove, or you can go to the pinned comment above. If you want to book your own personal and private reading, you can use code LABOR, all in caps, for all of September to take 35% off any appointments. And that's LABOR as in Labor Day, and it is psychicbellalove.com. I will have the link posted for the Barb's Only tier for the Patreon, where we can do monthly lives, where we can be uncensored but private and be comfortable. I'll have that posted on the community tab on Monday, and we will be live again next week. Hopefully we can during the week, because the day I was trying to do that, my internet was not working because somebody was doing work in my complex and clipped the cord that, or whatever, wires, lines, whatever you call it, cables for the internet. So our whole complex didn't have internet that night, so that was fun. But hopefully we can go live again during the middle of the week. I like doing lives more when we can. So, all right, guys, I hope everybody has an amazing rest of the week or weekends. I hope you guys have a 3-day weekend and that you get to do all the things, have a cookout, take a nap, enjoy your time, pray, do something good for yourself and something spiritual for yourself this weekend, and make sure you like the video on the way out. It's a free way to support the channel. And if you guys have any time, even if you put it on mute, please restream the video from last weekend, because all ad revenue from that will be donated to LaShonda. So I wanted to make sure that we can continue to support her as she gets back on her feet after this awful tragedy. And once again, she says thank you to everybody that did show up and show out for her. She felt the love. We definitely appreciate all of you guys. You do really listen. I know there's a lot of creators out there that'll be like, oh my god, I love you guys, and they're so fake about it because they, you know, it's a Jaclyn Hill type of a situation. I love you so that you'll pay for stuff. I really do truly love you guys. I really, really do. I don't say things I don't mean. And I always pray for every single person that follows me and supports me, that you guys are good, that you're safe, that all your dreams and manifestations come true, that you are full of love and that you are being loved, and that all the good things happen for you guys. I really, really, truly, truly mean it, that I really appreciate you guys and all of your love and support. So all the prices are on the website, CLove, psychicbelllove.com. If you guys ever want to know the prices, my schedule, all of that is always on the website. So have a good weekend, guys, and I will see you guys all later.